I would say that the personnel is better.
I'd say so now. Prior to the draft, I maintained we were worse.
Now, they lost some guys.
Absolutely.
Via free agency. They lost Breland. They lost Trent Murphy. They lost Kirk Cousins.
Right. I mean, that's a pretty big loss.
Right, but gathering themselves.
Smith a
yeah,
wash.
let's just say it's a wash for the sake of argument. They did a really good job. They lost their franchise quarterback and replaced him with another franchise quarterback. Now, it's not somebody that's taken anybody to a Super Bowl or anything, but I think the quarterback position we don't have to really worry about. But I thought going into the draft, we were net not as good as last year. But after the draft, I mean, they got presumably a top-tier running back now. It should be a dramatic upgrade for the running game. And I think adding a first-round talent, middle of the first round, in Deron Payne, they dramatically upgraded the defensive line. So I'd be willing to say that we are marginally better.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Marginally better than the end of last year. Now, I still think the schedule is brutal. And if you look at it, now there's different ways to look at it. Chris Russell tweeted something. I can't remember which site it was. I don't know if it was Pro Football Focus or one of these sites where it had it as the 5th toughest schedule in 2018 based on odds to win a Super Bowl, odds to get to the playoffs, not based on last year's record. If you look at it based on last year's record, they might have it in the middle of the pack. But if you base it on teams that are expected to do well this year, it's the 5th toughest. I think it's a very, very challenging schedule, and that's going to mitigate how,
but JP,
how good they've gotten.
Reed has to be healthy.
Yeah.
Because if Reed is healthy, that's just the game changer in the passing game.
Chris Thompson as well. I mean, you need all the guys back.
So if you're assuming that those guys are all healthy, I would agree. Slightly better roster than last year.
I think it's slightly better. You can chime in 800-636-1067. It's funny because they didn't rely on the guy last year because he was suspended. But I do think the Trent Murphy loss, it's a big one because depth-wise now you've got Preston Smith at linebacker, an outside linebacker, and Kerrigan, but you don't have much depth behind it. You got Ryan Anderson they drafted who did nothing.
Well, you would hope.
I think if Murphy had come back,
I think he knows he did nothing. He's putting a lot of pressure on himself to really show in year 2.
I would expect a bounce back from Anderson.
I mean, I've heard reports from Craig Hoffman that dude has lost weight. He's been in the weight room every single day, and hopefully he's going to have more of an impact in year 2 than in year 1.
But I do think they are slightly better. Again, 636-1067. You can call us on the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Listener lines. Let's go to some of these clips from Doug Williams. I think one of the best moves, I think all of us thought it was that they were able to trade back and acquire a third-round pick and still get their guy, Darius Geis. Here's what Doug said about moving back to get Geis.
At 44, the scary part about them at 44 was the fact that the guy that we had targeted out of the guys that we had on the board, he still was there. And we took a chance. Because at that time the running backs was moving pretty good. We took a chance of moving down to 59. But what 59 afforded us another draft pick in the 3rd round to get another good player. And we had some players on the board. Guy wasn't on the guy on the board. We had about 6 or 7 other players name on this board. And usually when you sit there, you see when one go, you pull that one down. The next one go, you pull him down. And just so happened at 59, Geis and a couple more guys were on the board, and we chose Geis out those other guys.
It worked out. I would love to know who the other guys were that they had
What
right
are the
there.
other 4 or 5 names that were up there?
But I'm not going to guarantee you. But my guess is Geis was by far the highest-rated guy that they had left. And I think he talks about it there in some of these clips, right, that you don't reach there just for a need. I know at some point he talked about that in his presser because I was listening to it as I was driving around.
This is where need and best player available dovetailed perfectly for the Redskins.
He goes on to talk more about Geis in particular because, of course, there was a lot of noise that Geis is a bad character guy, that there was some sort of altercation at the scouting combine, that maybe he missed some meetings, missed some flights. Here's what Doug Williams says about Darius Geis, the running back.
Well, the good thing about that, what other teams thought don't necessarily mean what we thought. That's some players that win this draft that we probably didn't have on the board. At the same time, it all depends on the team. We talking about a guy that we had in the 1st round on the draft board. When you talk about a value pick, you got to say that Darius Geis is a value pick that will fit in perfectly with this football team. And when he's there at your pick, you got to take advantage of it and pick that guy. We'll say influenced us. What influenced information that we had gotten from him and the people around him? We had a lot of sources that we talked to. You and I both know the way social media and the media and a lot of other things happen out there when it comes to players. Most of them take one thing and they run with it. Unfortunately, they don't know the kids. I think you got to give the kids some credit to say that from where he come from and what he's accomplished and what he's done, we take it from that standpoint.
Right.
Plus, there's a value
and
aspect
who knows
of
how
Geis.
much of that was even true.
Right. It's a lot of smoke leading up to the draft.
They brought him in. They took him out to dinner. They got a feel for him. I mean, that goes a long way.
You know what the genius would be? If the smoke was created by the Redskins.
Right.
To get him
If
to
somehow
fall.
they were the masterminds of it all. But I
could
don't
have
know.
been.
I don't know if I can give them that much credit.
I don't know if you could predict, though, that, like, what was it, 6, 7 running backs would go ahead of him.